Hey guys, how's it going? So today we're going to be looking at the CS-63, which is this brand new Polish Tier 10 medium tank that just got released with the update 1.10. So there's been a lot of confusion with the tank. A lot of people saying it's really good, a lot of people saying it's really bad. And is it good in pubs? Is it good in competitive like clan wars, advances, or even tournaments? And I want to clear a lot of that up. So we're going to go look at the stats. Let's check it out. All right, as you can see, these are the base stats for the CS. So obviously with the correct equipment, you can get these stats much higher. But just looking at this tank's DPM is 2900. Your alpha is 390. With gold rounds, your penetration is 315, which is honestly a little low for medium tanks, but it still gets the job done. The standard round is 258. So we have the dispersion at 0.35, shell velocity is 1,410, which is actually pretty quick. The top speed is 55 and the reverse speed is 15. Now, here is where the tank gets really, really interesting. This tank has a travel mode, and the travel mode is something that we've seen before. We've seen it on the Stritzwagen 103B. Now, the difference between the Stritzwagen 103B and this tank is obviously this tank has a turret. So when you're in the travel mode for this tank, it's quite inaccurate. You're not really able to hit anything except at very close ranges. But this is the big takeaway from the travel mode. It goes 70 kilometers per hour, or if you run turbocharger as your equipment slot, you can get up to 75 kilometers per hour. Makes the tank very quick, and it really opens up some competitive opportunities that I'd really like to see people explore. Now, some more stats on the tank. It has 8 degrees of gun depression, has 2,000 health, and a pretty standard 400 view range. So let's go ahead and look at the 3D model because the armor, it's all right. We have 80 in the front, 50 and 40 in the side and back. The turret is 260. The thing about this tank is very well like angled. I would say that it's comparable to the Progetto, the Tier 10 Progetto, in that respect, that there's just some angles that no matter what happens, you can't seem to do anything about it. Now, just looking at this tank, we're shooting standard rounds. If you kind of shoot up in the middle hole here, you're going to get some bounces. The lower plate's pretty bad. The outside of this turret, a lot of bounces. Right here is interesting, though. Pretty high angle here, effective angle 71 degrees. So if you're kind of shooting the flatter areas here, you'll get a pen. But really, just the center of the tank, like just right down the middle like there, right there, you're going to get a lot of bounces. So what I've found is I like to face hug people and really try to bait them into shooting my mallet. Another thing you can do in this tank is you can actually angle right here. And if you're side scraping, kind of like at this angle, or actually this angle, you're going to be bouncing shells right into that spaced armor. So here, I'll show you a visual of it. Right in here, he's got some nice spaced armor, and people are going to get really frustrated as why they're not penning. It's a great place to try to stop like a heat shell, for instance, with that spaced armor. Let's look a little bit at some tank comparisons. We've got the CS-63 here, of course, but two tanks that I see all the time people comparing it to is the STB-1 and the Leopard 1. So, for instance, we all know the STB has incredible gun depression, has incredible DPM. It's pretty mobile. It's honestly one of the better tanks in the game, especially just for brawling and straight up DPM wars. The CS, it's about the same level as the Leopard when it comes to DPM. Obviously, they're different tanks. I personally think the CS-63 plays more like an STB than a Leopard because it does have some armor, and it definitely is a bit more of a frontline tank because of its speed, while the Leopard typically plays a bit like a sniper. Now, let's take a look at some of the other stats here. We've got aim time is 2.3 on the CS, STB 2, and the Leopard is an incredible 1.7 stock. Dispersion, it says it's 0.3 sits here. I don't know why it's different from the previous screen, but the previous screen said 0.35. Better than the STB. I've played both, and this gun definitely handles a lot better than the STB gun, especially at range. The Leopard, obviously, incredible gun. It's one of the best snipers in the game. And gun depression, it says the STB only has 8, but we all know that that's without the pneumatic suspension. Once the STB engages that pneumatic suspension, I believe it goes up to negative 12 gun depression. It might even be negative 14. It's very, very good. And the Leopard has 9. Forward speed, we've got 55, but obviously that's without the travel mode, which gets it up to 70. And the STB does 50, Leopard does 70. And I think where it really gets the other tanks is the power to weight. So the engine power, we got the 740, 950, 830. The STB, that's actually quite high. I did not realize that. So we got the power to weight, and right here it shows that it's lacking among the three. So when you're not in your travel mode, you're going to be probably as fast or a little bit slower than the STB, and definitely slower than the Leopard. But when you're in that travel mode, as you'll see in the next little bit, you are definitely going to be faster than the Leopard and most certainly the STB. Hull armor, same story. STB and CS kind of comparable here. The Leopard, not even close. And the camo values, a stationary camo is actually better than both the STB and the Leopard. I did not know that. That's very interesting. Fire chance is actually pretty high. That's a little concerning. View range, the Leopard has 410. So my buddy Craterbait and I went on mines to test the CS-63 against some other fast tanks like the Leopard, the T-100, and the Batchat to see who would get to the middle the quickest. But before we show you that footage, I really want to talk a little bit about the equipment that the CS-63 runs. Now personally, if I'm playing random battles, I think the best equipment is the vertical stabilizer, the ventilation, and the rammer. That allows you to have that really nice accuracy. You get the DPM, and the vents just really helps everything. Helps your speed, helps your accuracy, just helps everything. Now, for competitive, often you're going to have to take early positions, and you're going to want the fastest speed possible. And with equipment 2.0, there is a new slot specifically for the CS-63 that you can put as a mobility slot. So you can put the new turbocharger in that slot, and it will give you 10% better engine power, and it will give you 5 extra kilometers per hour on your top speed. So you can actually do 75 kilometers per hour in your CS, which is incredible. So that's what we ran in the following footage. We all ran the turbocharger. I wanted to show you guys some timings for taking the hill on mines. And we have 4 tanks here. We've got the T-100, the CS-63, the Batchat, and the Leopard. And as you can see, the T-100 is the fastest, but the CS is right behind it at a second behind it. The Batchat's 1.7, and the Leopard is 3 whole seconds behind it. So when it comes to timings, the CS is right there with the light tanks. Now, I want to show you something on Malinovka as well, CS versus 907. Most clans use the Object 907 to take the hill in Malinovka when they play competitively. So that made me curious. I wondered how big of a difference between the CS-63 and the Object 907 would it be to take the hill? Like how many seconds? So it turns out that the CS-63 beats the 907 by a whole 23 seconds to getting up the hill. And in this example, I have them both running turbocharger. Alright. Gonna get into some gameplay here. Looks like we got the map Tundra. Now, I like Tundra a lot. I think it's a pretty dynamic map. There's a lot you can do on it for pretty much any tank class, so usually when I get Tundra I'm not too angry. Unless there's like 3 already and I'm forced to camp. That really sucks. So the first thing I always do in any game is I just look at the enemy team, see what they've got, and the only tank that can contest hill with me is another CS-63. They don't have any light tanks. So I feel really comfortable of going up the hill, and other than those 2 already, I think we'll be alright. So we're lit on the crossing, so that tells me that someone's on the crossing there, being able to spot it. There's the CS. Okay, we're up. Looking good. Got up for free. That's always a good thing. See, like the STB was able to get up, and what just happened over here? This FV got eliminated by their Progetto and their TVP, it looks like. That sucks for him. Couldn't have been a good game. So, we find a TVP. Missed the shot, but I like to play this high side right after I win the hill. Just to like spot anyone rotating in their base. We get a little bit of spotting. Not complaining about that. And we're up on top. We're going to check for Artie. No Artie. Alright. Everything's good. So, let's go ahead and move down to the heavy brawling position. And we can kind of just play this corner, which is really good for medium tanks. So our rival on the other team, the CS, shoot that weak point we talked about a little bit ago. Don't want to shoot the mantlet, you want to shoot, you know, to either sides of the gun or the turret. And he had a really nice shot in return on me. So here we are on the hill. Game's looking pretty good. We get a nice shot into the E100. Really high roll there. Wasn't expecting that. And it's nice to have teammates because they're distracting the enemy and allowing us to put nice consistent shots into them. 277 over pokes just a little bit too much. Get a nice track shot and he dies to the 260. Me and Octobear here just punishing that E4 for trying to play like a heavy tank. Who did he think he was? Let's see, can we hit the cupola here on this guy? Oh, don't need to. We got a shot into the cheek. Down to a one shot. Now Octobear, he is heat on his STB, and he's still struggling against this E100. You know, after we let's see if we get the shot here. Let's talk a little bit about the E100 because it recently in the new update 1.10 got a big buff, and that buff is a much better gun, the lower caliber gun, the one that you use on the E75. And also the mouse, but I don't think the mouse got the alpha buff. The E100, it's got the better gun. It's also got an alpha buff, as I mentioned. It's up to 530 now. And the turret is so much stronger. So in these hold down situations like this, if he's angling really at all, my 315 pen on my APCR is going to really struggle to go through his turret. And you'll see that here in a second. It's just, I look super uncomfortable trying to get through this turret. Like, especially this was right after the update came out, and I was not accustomed to how strong the E100 turret was yet. I think if I knew a little bit more about it, I would have been going for the weak point a little bit earlier. Nice shots into Pat, and we're outplaying him right now. Getting shots into his cupola, and he's just bouncing our turret. I'm like, what am I gonna do against this guy? His turret is just so strong. And let's see, do we hit the bar here? We go for it, but we bounce. Oh my gosh. So the bar is a weak point on top of the E100's turret. You can see it, it's green. Here, when he pulls forward again, I'll pause just for a second, outline it for you. Alright, let's see if we zoom in a little bit more actually. Alright, right here. See where it's green? So if we look right in here, this is all pretty much pennable with almost any type of normal round. We can shoot right on top of there. It'll do damage most of the time, and like the one thing you want to avoid is you can't really shoot these little ears. They won't do anything. But otherwise, you aim for that. Pretty much any round you'll pen. See all these bounces here? Occasional pens, 1 and 1 there. But look at all these bounces, and this looks like a ricochet off the two. He hits us in return there. A tough shot. He angled it well there. So we're pretty much staying zoomed in this whole time, doing our best here. Nice shot in return for that U100. Gun depression failed us a little bit there. We have 8 degrees, but it's not always enough. Alright, so you see what happened there? That U100 backed up, and his hull, like, aimed down a little bit. And that allowed us to shoot that turret where it was flat and give us a much better chance of penetrating it. Slight movements back and forth there. Really lucky roll for me there. That same shot was bouncing over and over before, but I'd estimate it's about a 25% chance of penning. Here you can see me using the new Communication 2.0 features with the new update. I pinged that Progetto, like, come help me. I'm fighting 2 tanks. Now, I'm going to pause again here. Sorry for the frequent pauses, but let's look at the map real quick, right? We've got this Progetto on the hill, and that's pretty much it. Like, we're kind of caught in a 2v2 situation. This Achinetz is playing way out wide. So if we lose the east side of the map, they get the hill, and there's a very good chance we lose. So in most situations, I would run from this position. But because we're in such a dire situation where we need to win this part of the map, I haven't run. So you haven't really seen me use my mobility, except in the early game where I took the best position. Let's get back in. So still looking for that bar shot. I probably could have hit the lower part of the turret there, but I was really worried about getting hit in return. So probably smart of me to just snap one off, live to fight for another shot. So you see, we messaged that Progetto, and the Progetto's moved behind us. And he said thank you and fall back. You know, we're all learning. Patent shooting HE, and all of a sudden we have a Sturv moving up on us. This Sturv has come to ruin our day, come to outplay us. We're backing up like crazy, trying to get out of this position. The Sturv is overcommitted. He gets hit by Artie. Progetto's putting shots into him. I don't think the Progetto's penned yet, though. He might have hit one. And we hit him a couple times. So, here's the Patent playing on us. We have the better position now. He's in the open. We snap it off. Nice penning high roll right into him there. Alright, so looking much better. The 2v3, we're winning it. The Achinets is flutzing around behind. Even though that was green, I don't think that was a good shot. I'm like, oh, okay, well, it's green. Maybe I should try. But I think the better shot would have been to try to pen under him because he was aimed so high there. Sometimes the green, orange, and red penetration markers are not always accurate. Achinets gets the track. Looking really good on damage. We're at 7.7k here. Do we get the kill on the E100? Yes, we do. I think if we had one less degree of gun depression there, we would have really struggled. So that -8 really helping here. Alright, so we're driving back up on top of the hill. Looking good. Game has gone in our favor. See if we can spot anyone. We've got the 183. Aimed it in all the way. Really unlucky bounce there. We got lit. I'm really scared of like Artie right here, but speaking of Artie, there he is. I should be shooting AP here, but sometimes you forget in the heat of the moment. I was having such a good game, I was really enjoying it. So, kill the Artie. Took a little bit of fall damage there, that was kind of weird. We're at 8.3k damage, 900 assist, and I'm just going to speed up the replay because nothing really happens from this point. We just kind of drive around and kind of just die. Well, we don't die, the enemy team dies. Alright, well, we'll just see this last guy die, then I want to talk a little bit about stuff. Alright. So, I've been seeing a lot of people talking about this tank recently. And if I'm being honest, a lot of the reviews have been negative, and why that is really confuses me. I think that the tank is very competitive. Very competitive in pubs. There's been some very good players using it and doing very well in it. I've played well over 100 battles in it already. I've just been spamming the tank. I'm trying to get the 3 mark. I'm almost there. I think I'm at just under 90%. And with all these people saying negative things about it, they're like, well, it's not accurate in the fast mode, which is true, or that's just a 907's better. I think we should really look deeper into the tank. I'm going to refer back to the EBR. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. When the EBR was first announced and it was on the test server several patches ago, it was very broken. It went 105 kilometers per hour. It had a boost system that could get up to 105 in 2 seconds, which they removed because too many people are launching themselves off cliffs with. And then they nerfed it. They took away that function and they dropped the speed down to 95. And admittedly, myself and a lot of other people really just said, well, it has horrible view range, has bad penetration, I don't see this tank being viable. So we didn't play it. But the people who stuck out and played the tank, they're like, hold on, guys, this tank is actually good. You have to look at the big picture. It's faster than any tank. I think it can be usable in pubs and especially on competitive gameplay. So time went on. Eventually people realized how good the EBR was and it became meta. And I think it's a similar story with the CS. The CS it definitely has flaws, right? The accuracy when it's going 70 is very poor. Very, very poor. You can only hit enemies in that mode in the closest of scenarios. And that's really scared a lot of people off. They say that's a worst Leopard. Well, as we are able to demonstrate this game, I don't think a Leopard would be able to bounce shots like we did. And sure, that's not reliable, and you shouldn't rely on armor like this, but it's going to save you at times because at some point in the game, you're going to bounce a shot when a tank like a Leopard won't. And that's why I think this tank is very comparable to the STB or the 907. I think the STB is very similar when it comes to like the gun depression elements, the brawling. Like the armor in the STB isn't super reliable, but it can save you. Now, the real reason why this tank is going to be so good is the top speed, and specifically the engine power. Your power to weight ratio when you're in the boost mode is about 28, which is ridiculous. As we saw on Malinovka, it beats every other medium tank up to the hill. We showed the 907, but if you just think about the power to weight and the top speed, there's really no other tank that can get to the hill as fast as the CS, except for a couple light tanks. So if you're thinking about competitive value, in competitive callers or people who play the game a lot, they're going to want tanks that can beat any other tank to the position and hold the position. That's why I think this CS is going to become meta. And it might take some time. So many people are complaining about it. It'd be incredible if they actually buffed the tank and then became a super tank. But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's good for the game either. Regardless, give this tank a second chance. I really think it's going to be good. And yeah, if you guys liked the video, hit me up with a like. If you didn't, hit me up with a dislike. It gives me a lot of information when that happens. And, stuff like message in the comments, stuff you liked about it, stuff you didn't like. It's my first video, so there might be a few issues, but they'll be ironed out very soon. And we're going to be uploading, I'd say about 1 to 2 videos a week. And every few weeks we'll have a big video to release. So anyway, I hope you guys liked the video. My social links will be down below. If you want to check out my stream, I stream at 9 o'clock Eastern pretty much every day. So you can check me out there. Hit me up with a follow. And I try to keep my streams educational. If you have any questions, you can hit me up either there or on Discord. And I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Peace out.